Hi, I am Crystal Lambert, and I will be presenting for Arkansas history. And we today are going to discuss WAAC. So, what is WAAC? WAAC is the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps. You will also see it written as the Women's um, Auxiliary Army Corps. I've seen it both ways on government stuff. It is written as Army Auxiliary Corps. So the next part of this is this lady, Congresswoman Edith Norris Rogers. And in May of 1941, Congresswoman Rogers introduced the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps Act before Congress. And with it, what she wanted to do was, we were looking at World War II had started, and she wanted women to be able to fill a patriotic role. Women wanted that filling, to fill those needs. And what she wanted to do was allow women to complete the roles of the non-combat soldier so that he would be able to fill the combat roles. And nothing came of this. And then in May of 1942, the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps Act, or WAAC, was signed into law. So what happened from between May of 41 and May of 42, that changed minds, that actually got this signed into law. Pearl Harbor was bombed in December of 1941. So that made things move a little quicker. In July of 1943, the auxiliary was dropped out of the name, and the difference that made was that women now had benefits through the military. Because remember, at this time, women are not allowed to join the actual army. So this was their way in, although before they got paid, there were no benefits to it. Now, what does this have to do with Arkansas history? Well, here you will see all these pins, these little diagram things, are locations where WAAC soldiers were implemented. So our first location we're going to talk about is in Monticello, Arkansas, which is in Drew County. So what was at Camp Monticello? Well, it was a POW camp. And they had conditions. If you want to be here, then you cannot have any changes to the plumbing. And our first thought is, what does plumbing have to do with this? Well, remember, up until now, it was only men on these bases. So when you think about the difference in a woman's restroom and a men's restroom, men have urinals, things of that nature that women don't have. So they're saying, yeah, if you're coming here, you're not changing anything. The next part was there's forced living quarters. So this was a POW location. So they just cram a bunch of people in there. And if you don't know, POW is prisoner of war. They're not worried about how much space you have to live when you're a prisoner. The next thing is there's barbed wire around these POW camps. So they're saying, yeah, if you come in, you're not getting rid of that either. So they weren't so welcoming to these women. And lastly, you must be able to leave within 30 minutes. Not 30 minutes, it might as well be 30 minutes. You're getting rid of all these people. Leave within 30 days if we need it. Well, guess what? When they finally decided, yeah, you can come, you're here, get the ground going, get everything moving, they decided they needed it again. And the POWs, the Italian POWs, were located at Camp Monticello during World War II. Next, we have the Arkansas State Teachers College in Conway. And here you have a picture of WAAC on the campus of Arkansas Teachers College. Do you know what Arkansas Teachers College is called today? It is the University of Central Arkansas. And there was also the Arkansas Polytechnic College in Russellville, Arkansas. And do you know what that is today? That is Arkansas Tech University. So what do these universities have to do with WAAC? Well, they had what they call paper schools. And paper schools taught these women, so after they would get finished of their basic training, they would go to some type of school. And here they were taught how to do government paperwork. And I don't know if you have ever been involved with the government for anything, but there is paperwork for absolutely everything. And they have an exact way that they want it done. So these ladies would go in and they would learn how to do essentially clerical type work. There was also a Pine Bluff location. So what is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, even still today? The Pine Bluff Arsenal. And there, remember, you're not going to see so much of the actual bomb building as you're going to see the women do all these other services, like drive the buses and service the Army buses. They chauffeur people around. They do records and reports. They're librarians. They do payroll. They do cafeteria inspections. Now, they also did some of there was a lady that was in charge of the chemical aspect in sending stuff to and from the arsenal. So, they did do minor type things. Remember, once again, at this time, women are thought to be inferior to a man, especially when it comes to the Army stuff. So know this, that in the military, every role is important. So does all this work need to get done? Yes. But at this point, when it comes to combat, these women, they really don't want women to have roles that they think are, the women may be too fragile for. Next, we have hot springs. So what in the world is in hot springs that was so important? Well, hot springs was very important. We have the Army and Navy Hospital. And at the Army and Navy Hospital, there were two types of trainings from the beginning. There was a surgical technician, and surgical technicians was a 6-week course. Then there was a 12-week course for dental, laboratory, and x-ray technicians. From here, so all these training facilities, women were sent out. So it could have been to other bases in Arkansas. And from these positions, surgical technician, dental technician, laboratory, this went around the world. President Eisenhower, who was General Eisenhower at the time, was in South Africa. They even sent ladies to Africa. So it wasn't just Africa, it was throughout the world. But they had very important roles to play. And a lot of it was right here in our own city. They also became physical or occupational therapists. And there was some reconditioning programs, and not only here, but also in Sebastian County, Camp Cashy, I believe is the name, and then, which is now a fort up there around Fort Smith. And there is Camp Robinson, which is in North Little Rock, where a lot of times during World War II, people weren't educated. These men were drafted without any education. So when they would come back, the ladies of WAAC actually helped these men get an education so that they could have work. So I hope you enjoyed this and learned a little something. And I appreciate you seeing me today. Have a great day.